Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Don't Tell Me How to Fan. My name is Josh Albrecht, and with me, as always, is my good friend, John Taylor. John, how we doing?
I'm great.
Okay, I was gonna say,
yeah.
great isn't even good enough. It's like you're.
No,
your
I was.
options were,
Well,
like,
it felt like you were.
amazing,
It felt like you had
incredible.
more you wanted to say.
I just thought like you were gonna come right in. It's fine.
Josh, I'm great. You know,
There it is.
I've been walking on clouds since about last week Thursday. So
Listen,
about
I feel
9 days.
like a kid with ADD who didn't take his meds. I am running around the house. I am swinging. I'm so pumped. That was okay. We should start. The reason why we're so excited is because the Packers not only beat the Lions 27-13 at home in week 1, but we got to see Micah Parsons on the field for the first time in an official game wearing the green and gold. And it was everything we could have wanted, honestly, like from him and this team. So, first of all, the 27-13, it was really 27-6. And I want to say that up front because the defense deserves that 27-6. It would have just been 27-6 period if not for like an amazing one-handed catch. I don't even from some rookie.
Yeah, his name's Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, there you go.
They're very excited about him. I think he was pretty non sequitur, but that was one hell of a ball to catch. That is, something to be excited. That's the one bright spot you have
if you're
for this game. If you're a Lions fan, there really is not anything you should feel good about that. And we'll talk about it more going forward. But as much as I love a Packers win, I love like core shaking, foundationally questionable start for the Detroit Lions. Absolutely.
So this is, and I actually put this out in a tweet. Follow Ad Honor Josh, by the way. I said, was anyone worried about the Lions being a factor in this game at any point? Because I wasn't. And that's me. I don't know if you've ever listened to this before, but I worry a lot about things I cannot control. And there was no point during this game where I thought the Packers are in trouble. Not one. Against the team that has won the division the last 2 years and went 15-2 last year. Remember, it took like after the 2 years ago, after that season, it was all right. We got to watch, like the Lions are legit, right? And then last year it was okay. We got to take these guys seriously. Packers go 1-5 in the division. You're thinking coming out the gate, we have Micah Parsons now, but it's still the Lions. Like they've still put I don't know if they were just having a, getting the rust off day, but this was not a game that was just Micah Parsons. Like the entire team, for the most part, did everything right. Like they played fantastic today.
Yeah.
And it made it a just calm down and relax game, which I needed and I loved.
To answer your X post, I would say I was nervous at kickoff. I mean, they responded beautifully immediately. The reason I was nervous was, we can talk about the like brain drain that the Lions suffered when they lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. It is challenging to lose both coordinators, right? We see that all the time. Yep. I think Dan Campbell has earned the praise or the benefit of the doubt that potentially he could get these guys rallied and excited. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it is about the players on the field, right? And I think whether we like it or not, the Lions have a really talented roster. Like, I still could see the Lions winning the North. It's just one game. We'll talk about the importance of this game.
I hate you saying that. I don't like that.
But it's true. But I also think there is a lot. They are not nearly as strong of a team on the field that they were last year. And so that became pretty apparent pretty quickly. And I found myself not being nearly as concerned. Because I'll always respect a contender. I mean, at the end of the day, the Lions have earned my respect whether I want to give it to them or not by their play. They came to Green Bay. They've taken our lunch money. Short of that Thanksgiving game, it's not like these games have been particularly inspiring. It's a lot of like clawing back at the very end, wondering why we can't get things going, why we can't get up for big games. So that was very, very exciting. So to answer your first question, I would say I was nervous in the beginning, but when you take the ball down the field in 12 plays, 83 yards in 5.5 minutes to an absolute seed to Tucker Kraft, like Aaron Rodgers level. And Jordan's going to get this the rest of his life. He's a talented quarterback, but those types of throws are the types of throws you only are confident to make when you are under the tutelage of what Tom Brady has called the greatest ball thrower of all time. So it's not just me. It's me and Tom Brady think that Aaron Rodgers is the most talented ball thrower. And I think there's a lot more of us listening and probably all over the world who would agree with that. But that play, that's what you want to see from the Packers. Get the ball up and out and moving. Do I wish the run game started a little stronger? Sure. But guess what? Doesn't matter when you're throwing the ball down the field. Right, 10 different receivers with catches. No wide receiver this game had more than 4 receptions, and I think Jaden Reed was the leader. But in terms of who caught, it was Romeo Dobbs, 68 yards in terms of the highest. So just spreading the ball around. I texted this in our group message. I said, well, we scored immediately, and I said, offense is as offense does. Matt LaFleur, who should have probably won Coach of the Year a couple times by now, is always going to get the offense moving and looking good, especially on those opening drives, especially when we really need certain plays dialed up. He's one of the best, and everybody knows that. So, I think I said hey, now it's time to see what the season is going to look like is going to be dictated by our defense, is what I said before any Packers got on the defense. And I don't think I've really taken the time to process just how exciting that answer is after today's game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I will tell you. So I agree with all of that, but I mean, as nice as it was to see them work for that first drive to get the touchdown, third down that throw to Kraft happened to was awesome. But it was almost I don't want to say we expected it, but we were okay, good. I'm glad that's out of the way. Let's see Parsons. Right? You could tell everyone in the stadium was so jacked as soon when he took the field on that third down. The whole place went crazy.
Yeah.
And he hadn't done anything yet.
All he hadn't done anything, and then he absolutely made Penei Sewell look like a rookie right tackle. Just absolutely absurd how there's levels to this, people say. And it's think about how Penei Sewell kept Rashawn Gary in prison last year in those 2 games. And then you look at Micah Parsons, who's just oh no, I'm going to be good. And, part of that is I don't think Penei Sewell played his best game. I think he'll be the first one to say he needs to be better. And I think that is obviously very obvious. But the reason why the whole national discourse, Packers radio, blogosphere, everybody says you go get a guy like Micah Parsons and you become a Super Bowl contender. Tier 1 teams, I think the Packers have been slotted just below the Eagles, the Lions, let's say the Bills, the Ravens, those, the upper echelon teams.
Yeah.
I was good. I would have said the Chiefs before I watched them play against the Chargers, but they looked rough. And Brazil, blah, blah, blah. The Chiefs is going to
done that.
Yeah. Chiefs is going to chief. But I will say that you trade 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark to the Dallas Cowboys, thank you, Jerry, for a guy like that, for how today looked on field.
Right. So here was my thing is I'm watching that play where, he doesn't even sack, but getting the pressure, forcing Goff out of the pocket was everything. All last season, the first season that we did this podcast, right? And how many weeks did we complain about, well, the quarterback has all day. The quarterback has all day. There's no pressure. And then we went into the draft, and it was, well, we need someone that is going to create pressure on the quarterback. We still don't have that. Then the draft happened, and it was, okay, well, they didn't take care of that, so that's still going to be a huge problem. And then they had Micah Parsons, and you see it today. His first play as a Packer immediately forces Goff out of the pocket, 4th down. I mean, it was everything. I was so jacked. I was like, oh my God, how long has it been? How long has it been as a Green Bay Packers fan that we've legitimately felt that type of force from the defense getting to the quarterback? I'm asking, is it back to Clay Matthews?
I think that's some Zadarius Smith erasure, sadly. Somebody else I know actually asked that. They're like, when was the last time somebody could chase? And it was Zadarius Smith was a hell of a football player for us those first 2 years. He was a Packer.
Okay.
That just is the answer. It's not the sexy answer. I know what everyone's getting at because Clay, homegrown, talent drafted.
I'm not even looking at that way. I'm looking at purely from if I'm looking at the 3 of them, I think that Clay is way more comparable to what we saw today than Za'Darius was. I'm not saying that Za'Darius didn't get there.
Yeah. I just think I mean, I get the point, but I just mean when we talk about like, when was the last time we just had like a dominant game record, which I think is more in the spirit of like chasing somebody down is exciting, but like, I just mean like circling a guy.
Things.
It was, it was Za'Darius Smith level. Like I've been snubbed, know, that guy was an absolute unit. And I just like, I don't want to erase that because those were fun defenses to watch because of the
maybe
Smith
also
brothers,
because it was the Smith brothers. Maybe it's because I can't associate him alone.
Za'Darius was so much better before contracts got sour, you know, his back. I mean, so anyways, but to your point, you're right. And I understand what you're saying too, because I have two things I want to say about this. I mean, the fact is that like Clay Matthews played as an outside linebacker, and I get it was a 3-4 at the time, so it looked a little different, but his athleticism really got to shine because he was coming at the gaps rushing in such interesting and exciting angles. I will say it is absurd to watch Micah Parsons, an undersized DN, just hand in the dirt, just running past double teams, breaking through double teams. Like, you want to say like, who's the last time to look like that? I mean, Reggie White. You know what I mean? Like we are talking about generational players. Like when you want to compare who was the last time the Packers had somebody like Micah Parsons, it's like, maybe don't be disrespectful to Micah Parsons. I mean, the truth is like, and it's funny because the amount of like cope I've seen from like Bears fans, Vikings, and they're like, he's not a good run defender. Good luck. Way to mortgage the future for like right now. And it's like, well, first of all, remember last year, and this is a victory lap I want to take. Remember last year when I was like, we should be excited for Xavier McKinney. I'm going to buy a Xavier McKinney jersey because it's absurd that the Giants fumbled Xavier so bad that a 26-year-old became a free agent who was like basically an all-pro. Well, this year you go, why do you trade for Micah Parsons? Because he's a generational talent, and he's only 26 years old. This 4-year contract for $188 million that they signed, the largest contract, and any first of all, not my money. I don't care. I literally don't care.
It's always been my thing. Pay him $1 billion. I don't give a shit.
As long as it fits in the cap and we can keep our players.
Whatever.
I don't. And it's what's funny is if you look at like the over the cap, like the breakdown, like I think the cap effect this year is like less than 11 million. And it actually is like a really team friendly contract because the Packers had done enough cap gymnastics over the last couple of years to do like an all-in push like this. So, who cares? And a guy who's 26, like you trade Kenny Clark, and there's been enough pouring one out for Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark.
Yeah, whoopsies. And I'll miss him. He was a hell of
it was time. We were starting to complain about him anyway. I'm sorry, nothing against Kenny, but like,
he came out and said, I had a foot injury, and it's like, well, you weren't on the injury report. We didn't really know about it. I mean, I think the real truth was he was a cap casualty at the end of next year, anyways. He was not going to be on this football team. So, when you say like,
the trade was a huge win for the Packers.
And also just looking at, this is what I was going to say about the cope. Like you watch tape of Micah Parsons in the run game. He's still better than a league average. You're looking for a mistake, so you don't have to feel terrible that the Packers gave away almost like nothing for this guy. I did not think in a million years we were going to be able to get Micah Parsons for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. No. I thought we were going to lose Jaden Reed. I thought we were going to lose Dontavian Wicks. I thought maybe even I was having conversations being like, man, I really don't want to lose Gary, but if you believe in LVN and then you keep restocking the cupboard, until you like hit another one. So the fact that the edge room has only been bolstered and you drop LVN back to a spot where I think right now developmentally, he is so much further along as the 3 right now than he was at various points last year, when he was playing as the 2. And then, when there were times when Kingsley Enagbari was playing above him. There was a lot of situations where this is like a classic Bucks conversation where it's like Kyle Kuzma, not going to be a great number 2. You put him at your 3, maybe it's okay. I don't want him on the team anymore. This is in the Bucks conversation, but you got my point. You recontextualize how these players can affect the team, and all of a sudden their value shines so much larger or bigger than like what per se their production's been. Which I'll say, LVN looked great today.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So everyone for the most part looked great. Like I can't even think of one specific person that I'd call out. Like everyone did well today. I loved to stay on Micah for just a second.
Yeah.
So a few things I need help here with before we get back to his play. Are we short when we shorten it? Are we calling him Micah or are we calling him Parsons? As the Packers fan base, what are we going with?
I think you got to go Micah. It just rolls off the tongue a little easier.
Okay, because like we
yeah.
don't say Jordan, right?
No.
Like we say Love, you know. So like I'm just like going through my head. I'm like, do we usually we go last name?
Yeah.
But they're both good. So I'm not.
I mean,
really sure.
he's so good. He's kind of in first name last name territory to me. He might just be Micah Parsons. You know what I mean?
Well, I get that, but I don't know. So
I mean, if you say Micah out loud, you're only talking about one guy.
Well,
sorry,
Micah Hyde. Micah Hyde existed.
Well, I know. Sorry, Micah Robinson, who was called up from the practice squad today. Yeah, not the Micah we thought we were going to see play on the field today when we left the draft. But yeah, to your point, I don't know. I like Micah. He doesn't really have like a nickname, you know. He's like, yeah.
All right, we'll go with Micah for now. And then the second was, and I might get some flack for this, but I hate that his jersey's number 1.
Yeah,
when they said the stat and they were like, he wears number 1, the first player to do it since Curly Lambeau 99 years ago. And I was like, well, that fucking sucks. That definitely shouldn't have been the case. Put any other number on him.
No, we've honored Curly long enough. The most important sporting venue in the entire North American hemisphere, Western hemisphere. It's North America. I don't know. I'm being a little dramatic. The most important venue on American soil is named after him. Give the number up. Give the number. It's fine. He kept it in Green Bay. Thank you so much. It's called Lambeau Field. That is way better than 1. This is one of those situations where you talk about like they didn't want to retire the number. It was unofficially retired. They could have retired it for 99 years, and this wouldn't have been a conversation.
I know. I don't know why they didn't. Why didn't they?
I don't know.
And if they weren't going to, why didn't they give it to anyone else in the last 100 years? Like that's my point.
Yeah,
like
because Reggie White wasn't allowed to wear 92, and he's probably the only other one that they would have maybe considered it for. Truthfully, I mean that in sincerity. I think it's like there's been 2 guys who have come into the Packers organization that they would have been probably willing to let wear the number 1, and I don't think defensive linemen were allowed to wear the number 1 in 1996. Actually, I know for a fact they weren't. So you know what I mean? Like that's a newer rule. I truly think that. Jaden Reed, I'd love to wear number 1. Sorry, pal. Sorry, Michigan State. It's not happening. You know what I mean? So I just think like, and it opened up the fun thing. You know, it's one of these things where it's like, I love tradition. I love history. But some of this stuff is just like, you could have retired the number and you didn't. So like, let's give it to somebody else. Let's like breathe some excitement into it. It just adds to the mystique. Like we watch Micah Parsons wear number 1 in Lambeau Field today.
Yeah.
As we dominated the Detroit Lions 27 to fake 13. You know what I mean? Like this is stuff of like legends.
I get it.
I'm just
saying I don't like it. There's a lot of numbers that aren't worn. Pick one of them.
No. Pick number 1. It looks awesome.
Fine. Whatever.
It's just like it's just exciting.
I love the man. I love his play. Why that? No, why what? It doesn't matter. Okay.
It truly.
So those were the 2 things that
Matthew Golden looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, not a huge breakout. Let's talk about the offense.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Anything else specific to Parsons?
He ran 18 and a half miles an hour to chase down Jared Goff. That was my one fact about that play I wanted to tell you. He ran 18 miles after him to chase him down.
Didn't that moment in the game almost feel like I literally laughed out loud and said, of course, because his sack, you know, everyone was singing, are we going to get a Parsons sack in the first game? I think, you know, our buddy Brian even like texted and said it. And I was like, I mean, maybe we will. But then for it to be in the fourth quarter, 4 minutes left, and it's him chasing down Goff, I was like, of course it is. It's not like a, you know, rush, beat a guy, get Goff to the ground. No, it's not like that at all. It's a foot race. I thought that was hilarious.
I mean, it's
first sack as a Packer.
When you talk about like NFL films, that is like quintessential. Like it's like in a nice in the opening game against the Detroit Lions, a team Micah Parsons makes his debut for the Green Bay Packers, stamped in the annals of history forever. Here's the play. You know what I mean? You watch him break through, and then it's just like what Micah Parsons would go on to do with the Green Bay Pack. You know, and it's like And you're just watching in slow motion him just absolutely hauling ass. I just mean it was like coming through the camera too, like cinematography wise, it was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of he broke through double coverage, and then Goff was already like, "All right, I'm out," and he was like, "I don't think so, pal." Like,
and ran him down. That's why I was just like, "Of course it was. It couldn't have happened any other way." It was awesome
to a nicer guy, you know.
Okay, love Micah Parsons. Love that debut. Offense,
yeah.
So I loved two passes, touchdown. I think they should try to do that more if they can. That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd love to try. I mean, the Lions played man coverage, and I said it. I don't know if it was to you or in that Discord I always talk about, but I said Terrion Arnold, who ended up going out with a hamstring injury, so he left the game anyways. But I was like, he's holding on for his dear life against like Dobbs, like some pretty bad penalties. Like it's not like he didn't like inspire confidence. You know, they lost some guys in the secondary. They let Okuda walk, and it's like these players maybe who should walk, but there's a lot of question marks. And I think it should be said too, as fun as it is to like, feast on the L's of the Lions, we're catching them at a great time for the week, for this one game. There's been so much turnover roster wise.
You only play them twice. So
I know. I just mean it in terms of catching it at the right time. But yeah, I think they should try it. I love though. Both of those were like a really awesome skinny post. Romeo Dobbs just got him right in the seam, took care of it. And then you look at that Jaden Reed throw, just absolute dime again, just absolutely incredible. So I think like obviously that looked good. You look at like Jordan Love's stat line, he went like 16 for 22 for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And you can talk about that ball that got intercepted that Zach Tom ended up getting hurt from, but you could see Jordan look at Romeo Dobbs get held, and then he said, "I'm going to force this ball to Kraft." You know what I mean? He's just trying stuff. It was like so clearly a penalty that he threw that ball. He wouldn't have thrown that ball otherwise. I think that drive was emblematic of like there was like a teetering point where I'm like they're pressing. You could tell they wanted to go up 21-3 so bad that I was like, guys, let's remember at least we still need to try to run. We still need to try to get creative.
Stick to the game plan.
Yeah.
The reason why I loved it is because it was right after the long opening drive, right? Because they fought for that opening drive. I think, what was it, 9 plays, something?
12
10?
plays.
12 plays. Yep. That's a lot. That's a lot of plays for drive, right? So you show like, okay, we can chip away at you, or we can let it fly. Like that to me is at this point in the first game, I think that shows more than a lot of people give this team and LaFleur credit on them being ready to go. Yeah. There's no rust on this team. There's no, well, all right, it's the first game. Like, give them at least this game. Start judging them in game 2. Like, they took all of that out of the equation. There was nothing at any point today where I was like, well, that's just, a rookie mistake, or that's just, the rust running off. Like there was none of that. And I really put together from the offense that those 2 drives happening like they did was my sign of okay, we're here, we're ready to go. And I love that because LaFleur has fought that a lot in the last couple of years, and I don't know if he took that personally, but it was way different this year, and I love it.
That was their third. That technically was their third drive. They had the first drive, 12 plays, like I said, 5.5 minutes, and then 3 plays, -4 yards for the Lions, which resulted in a punt, and then 7 plays, 36 yards, field goal.
Right, that was a field goal. Yeah,
and then this one was, I think, really telling, and we'll still obviously talk more about it during the defensive side or where we want to talk about. But 16 plays, 78 yards for the Lions resulted in a field goal. So really tightened up where it was, and then that's where we got the touchdown. 2 plays, 65 yards in under 1 minute. It's funny, we were scoring so fast and moving the ball so quickly that it was like the time of possession was like pretty lopsided, to the point where I was getting concerned. Like I was like, there were like problems like this in like the 2014 season when the offense was so good that I was like, the defense is just getting gassed because like they were trying to stop teams, and then Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, they would just move the ball downfield at will, and it was just like,
I wish that 4 minutes on the bench. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, so there was a moment of that where I was feeling this. There was to answer your earlier question, there was that double up potential that I was getting kind of nervous about. It was, they were driving, it was 17-3. There was only like 4 minutes left in the second half or first half, might have been less than that. And, Evan Williams comes up huge with that interception, but they were moving the ball downfield. And I was like, is this a classic double up? Is this where like our defense, something's going to get exploited? We're not going to have something, and it just didn't happen. So, they ended the first half with that. For some reason, he just didn't call timeout with like 51 seconds left.
Yeah.
Just absolutely absurd. I wish the Packers could have done something there. They did that weird, just a couple runs, and I get it. There wasn't enough time. So I think they were probably thinking ball security more than anything, but that's a drive where I was like,
also thinking like, I know it was like you said, like a minute, 50 seconds, whatever it was. But after the first play of that drive, my brain went to, they just wanted to make sure they didn't score. Like they're taking the fact that they stopped the lines as the victory here. They're just, unless the Lions really screw something up and they break something, they're looking to go to half. They got the ball back. That's a huge win. And that's exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So the rest of the game, it was a punt fest for a lot of it.
Yeah. Third quarter was boring.
Yeah. It got tough. I mean, there was a point where I started, I wasn't too concerned with the Josh Jacobs production in the first half. I don't know how you were feeling. It was so obvious that they were selling out.
I was too busy celebrating the rest.
I know. They were selling out to stop the run. It just couldn't have been more obvious. They were like, we have to make sure that Josh Jacobs doesn't beat us. And they were right for it. But in that fourth quarter, he kind of comes back at it. I mean, Josh Jacobs ends up finishing the game 19 carries, 66 yards. So, that average
and a tutty.
That average per carry is pretty low. But that's what I was going to say. That drive with the touchdown in the fourth quarter, that's the kind of stuff we remember about Josh Jacobs. He hit a 5-yard run and then a 3-yard run to just get it going. There was that 2-yard quarterback sneak. So there was some fun stuff, but that was the type of game you felt like you remember. That's in that same drive. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the big play. It was a 15-yard run to start kind of the fourth. Yeah, that's where he really pulled it.
That was a big one. You just brought up too that love shove that happened, which it wasn't really a love shove. It was
a straight up QB sneak. Yeah.
Because he turned back into it, I think, to try to fall forward at one point.
Yeah,
but I love that because there was a lot of talk of, well, they could go up 14 here if they just kick the field goal. And I don't know. It's always a judgment call, right? And we always judge them if it isn't, if he wouldn't have got it, it would have been, well, why not just kick it, take the point, But before the snap, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, come on, you have the lead, you have the confidence, keep going. And really, when they scored on that drive, I feel like that was the game.
It absolutely was.
So that was the right call to at least go for it, to put the foot on the throat. And so I was really impressed with that too, because that's also been something that LaFleur's gotten a lot of heat for. So that kind of takes me, and sorry, I'm diverging a little bit here, but my own ADD going crazy. But the one negative from the game, and it's really not even a negative, but the coach's challenge by LaFleur.
Yeah.
I could tell immediately that it was going to be bad. I understand that I'm on my couch watching the game and he's down there, but there are people for that. He doesn't just make that call. There are people that watch that play and say, yeah, throw the flag. And I was like, no. Okay, well, you're losing that right away. And he does that all the time.
Yeah, I saw somebody tweet, or somebody brought it up to me, that I think he's like a guy that he sees the opposing offense hurry to try to make it look like they didn't challenge, don't want to challenge. And I feel like he like reflexively challenges it because he thinks they're trying to get away with something. I will say that review is closer in real time. I mean, you have guys up in the box looking at those plays, so maybe it's a conversation about who are these guys? Have they been the same people? Is it time to have different personnel looking at these challenges? But
that
in the moment,
by the way, should not be someone who is like, watch football live and is in the zone sitting in a chair. It should be someone in a recliner eating chips like you and I, because we see it better than they do. Sorry, continue. Well,
that was gonna be my last point. It's pretty bang on the field. I absolutely understand where they came from, and I mean, I get it. You only get 2. If you lose this one, it's gonna matter. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If that gets turned over, that's a huge momentum change. And at that time, you just don't know. They were moving the ball down the field. Like if you get that turned over, who knows? Maybe we won by 40. So
Sure,
do
I
understand
understand that. I'm just saying, like, if you needed to find a negative in this game,
Yeah,
that was the
that's
only
fair.
thing. That was the only thing that I saw that LaFleur gets hounded on in the past, that we all complain about, is timeout and clock management from LaFleur. And besides that call, like, there was really nothing else. There was literally, like, after the game, I was like, all right, what's a negative point on this game? That's the only thing I could find
Yeah,
was LaFleur still burned a first, challenge in the first half, first quarter, whatever it was.
yeah,
That was it. Otherwise, it was just a fun effing game to watch, man.
totally. Yeah, you talk about like time of possession. I'm trying to figure out where it is. It doesn't matter. I think they had us beat by there we go, 35-ish minutes to the Packers 24. And usually time of possession can be an indicator about how the flow of a game went. But what I'll say is something that the defense did really well is time of possession doesn't mean anything if it isn't matched with like big plays, significant plays. And we watched a really hilarious game where they didn't have any explosives. They dink and dunk the ball down the field, and we're hoping for something. Goff clearly was seeing ghosts. He could not get to it. And so, I would say I would love to see us have a little more time of possession purely from just a stamina aspect of the defense. And I was more nervous thinking about it. Like, I was more nervous in the moment than I am now. I don't care, but there is something to be said. I was like, man, these guys have been out on the field a lot for a lot of this game. And I think also you saw them take their foot off the gas offensively, trying to get the run game going. I think in an earnest effort to try to just slow down the pace of the game. Because I think
which could have been the case.
Yeah. Which I think is good. It's the first week. Like, I think the defense obviously held up in every single way that you would hope for. So, let's move on. Let's move on to the defense. If that sounds good to you. I know.
Well, one more thing before when I was looking at negatives, and the reason why it was hard was because what do a lot of people say, like, sways a game, right? It's turnovers, it's penalties. Like, you look at these team stats. Okay, no fumbles lost, no interceptions thrown. The one that Love threw, obviously, penalty brought back. The Lions had 7 penalties to the Packers 4. The offensive line, like, 0 sacks allowed. Love was fine. I wasn't worried about Love at any point throughout the game. So that's what I'm saying. Like, all of this stuff, they did right. There's really nothing to highlight in a negative way that this team did today, which is fantastic. All right, let's keep talking about defense.
Yeah, I mean, the other half of this is let's talk about the defense. We had 4 sacks today, 1.5 to Rashawn Gary, a half a sack to Lucas Van Ness. There we go.
Yep.
And then what is it defensively? Who else got one? Obviously, Micah Parsons got the sack.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget about him.
And then Devontae Wyatt. So that's 4 sacks.
Yep.
You talk about how you can beat the Lions. Jared Goff is a killer.
Getting him on the ground isn't bad.
Yeah. He's a killer when he is able to stay in the pocket and just methodically move the ball and just like dice up your defense. He's really, really good. Way better than anyone thought he was going to become when the Rams traded him. I'll be the first one to say it.
Yep.
But what is also not being talked about, it's like 9 tackles for loss. You know what I mean? It's like they were getting the ball out fast because Goff didn't have time. So they had to do a lot of behind the line of scrimmage. They had to do a lot of like stuff out in the flats. You talk about all of just holding Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, Sonic and Knuckles of last year, to under 50 yards combined. Like an absolute incredible performance by the front seven. And it really all starts from there. You always talk about how games are won and lost in the trenches. And we kept saying, we brought it up earlier today, all last year. Like, if this defensive front can get pressure on the quarterback and affect their ability to throw in rhythm, our cornerbacks don't have to be just, it's okay. The cornerbacks will benefit from this, right? And it's like, I think, I heard some people, we have friends that were already talking shit about like Keyshawn Nixon. And I'm like, he played well. He was going against Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's like one of the 3 or 4 best wide receivers in the league. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better game. And you talk about it too. It's like, you could see the wide receivers getting frustrated because maybe they were open, but there just was no time for Goff to feel comfortable enough to sit in the pocket to actually deliver a ball that far downfield. I think there was like one really bad blown coverage. I still don't really know what the deal was. I'll have to like take a look at it. Where Sam Laporta kind of went right down the center of the field, and I think he just split some zone coverage. We were in zone a lot in the game, and I think that's what ended up happening. And good on them for just finding like a zone beater, and they were able to pay it off. But really, in terms of it, like there was not a ton of deep balls thrown. You know what I mean? I think there was a 32-yarder later in the game to someone. I don't remember, but there wasn't a lot. I mean, it's like I can count them on one hand, you know? So,
yeah. I want to quickly, before we move on, I want to talk about you brought up with the running backs for the Lions.
Yeah.
And earlier you brought up how people were telling you, the trolls from the rest of the NFC North talking about, okay, good luck stopping the run now. 46 yards.
Yep.
46 yards of total rushing. That's pretty good day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So apparently, unless you are at some point discrediting, the running game from the Lions, which you shouldn't because Gibbs is really good. But 46 yards that's an amazing day any day.
Yeah.
If you're holding a team to 46 yards.
Yeah. Colby wouldn't look great today. When you talk about who's going to actually be like the straight up nose tackle next to like, Devontae Wyatt's like 3 technique. I thought he was great. I mean, Devontae Wyatt, 3 tackles, 1 for a loss. That one was super impactful, and he got the sack too. Separate drives. I mean, there are talented players that were sitting behind Kenny Clark, but their job gets significantly harder when the edge rushers can't get to the quarterback. You know what I mean? If they can't get to the quarterback, it just all of these things run in concert and complement to each other. And I think like, it's not like LVN couldn't set an edge, and it's not like Rashawn Gary couldn't, but it's like when teams have no fear about being able to throw for possessions when they need to, it makes the ability for the run game to also, I think like escalate is the wrong word, but I just mean like when they're not afraid of your front, they'll just run at it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if it's running or passing. It's just if it's not performing, if they're not flying to the ball, moving around, like Kenny Clark was not getting to in the backfield the same way Colby Wooden was. And listen, there's a huge caveat that we haven't touched on yet. And that's the fact that the defensive Lions interior offensive line, the Lions probably had the second best offensive line of the last 2 or 3 years. And with Frank Ragnow just up and retiring in the middle of the offseason post-draft, that changed a lot of things. I forget who they had to kick into center. They kicked a guard in from center. They have Tate Rutledge, a rookie right guard, starting for them. And then they had Christian Mahogany move to like left guard, or maybe Tate moved. Either way, that interior offensive line was always going to be the weakest part of their offense. And boy, did it show today. I think our maybe average interior defensive line, I think they're serviceable. I'm excited about some of these guys. I think Devontae Wyatt, it's time for him to really play a lot of snaps, earn that extension that he got. It's like go time for him. And I think between Colby Wooden, Nazir Stackhouse, Brinson, Sorrell, and I know those 2 guys were not even activated today. But when we talk about who can fill the role of nose tackle, I just think we're going to be okay to do different things. I think like having Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper able to shoot the gaps as quickly as they do, they cover up a lot of mistakes or maybe a lot of inadequacies that some of these like younger guys on the interior defensive line that we lost from Kenny Clark. Like I think there's a lot of Carl Brooks, somebody I haven't even mentioned yet. There's just a lot of options on the line where I go, what I preferred Kenny Clark. If we're talking about specifically stopping the run, of course I would. But when you look at the defense being the sum of its parts, you have such athletic linebackers. Watching Quay and Edgerrin Cooper move around as fast as they were, as confident as they were, and also as assignment sure. They did not blow anything. They were shooting gaps. They were reading Montgomery and Gibbs like a book. Like everything about it. And you talk about like at one point, there was a tackle for a loss, and it might have been the lone Keyshawn Nixon one. There was one that was like in the backfield, and I counted 8 Packers were rallying around that ball. And I just think about like, They came out.
I think they said the whole team. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, the whole team.
Yeah,
is
Romo
there.
said the whole team. There was 3 people missing. I counted just to be sure. But what I mean by that is just like, when was the last time you saw the Packers playing with their hair on fire like this and have it actually going well? Because I think like there's been so much we've been so young, and we're still the youngest team in the league thanks to Micah Parsons coming back in. I mean, we still were going to be, but we actually somehow got younger with the Kenny Clark trade.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that is like promise, like athleticism and promise can only take you so far when you're not producing. At some point, that promise needs to turn into production. And it's not uncommon for a lot of younger players, year 2, year 3, year 4, to start making those leaps. And the Packers defense is in this like beautiful sweet spot that only gets buoyed by having Micah Parsons on the team. And I'm not trying to only make it, but it really does come back to this idea that like everyone's job gets so much easier. There's like clips floating around of like the Micah Parsons effect, where you look at like that like near safety on Rashawn Gary's sack, like just the entire gravitational pull that Micah Parsons commands. It's just like you just have another like top 10 pass rusher on the other side.
I don't know if it was Nance or Romo, but someone said on the broadcast that the 2 most important people on the field are the quarterback and the main person in charge of disrupting the quarterback. And I thought that was really good, because it's like, yeah, I understand it's a team sport, but like, it's not even like every time he's going to get to the quarterback, Parsons. But we saw today multiple examples of what just one person on the defense can do to completely change the game. And so it's incredible to witness that in person instead of just talking about it and hearing it from other people, but to see multiple examples.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The second play that it wasn't the Rashawn Gary sack. I find there's a tweet of the back end zone angle, so you see just Montgomery and Goff, and it's 3 linemen blocking Micah Parsons, one on Rashawn Gary on the left side, and then the plan blocking, because that's where the gap was supposed to be, which would be for Carl Brooks, 2 of them, and then there's just Colby Wooden unblocked, and he was on record being like, "Yeah, the play snapped," and I was just like, "Nobody touched me." Nobody touched me. So he's just standing there. The photo is him just like looking at Montgomery like, "Hello, I'm here. You are going to be tackled now." And there, I listened to his post-game presser, and he's like, "Yeah, I took it personally that people said that like, how are we going to stop the run?" He's like, "You hear like the lines of the running backs." He's like, "I take that personally." He's like, "It is our job to go out there and make sure that we can stop the run, so that way our guys can go hunt." And I love that attitude.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then I don't
even more jacked.
I know. And Micah too. Like, I'm so impressed. Like, his podcast was fine. I wasn't listening to it because I wasn't a Cowboys fan. I mean, I definitely like the Love one. There was a couple live episodes, so it's just like, I don't really care. Like, you're pandering to an audience, but I'll say, like, I was so impressed with his introductory press conference. Like, he's been very vocal about being like, I love football. This is all I want to do. I'm really excited at this opportunity to go to a place that seems to be like in line with that. And like, I'm glad that there isn't a ton of things for me. He's like, I'm excited to just lock in. He's like, you don't pay me this kind of money to have me not take it seriously, and I promise you I will. But even just hearing him, like, how glowingly he's been speaking about this room and the guys, he's like, I'm offended for them that people are saying that they can't stop the run. I'm offended for them for acting like these guys aren't talented edge rushers. After the game, he was saying how, I think he was talking about the cheetah package, because it played where he was inside and Gary and El Vienna were on the outside. And he said something to the effect of like, I'm going to make it my mission this year to make sure that he has his best year yet. He's like, he is so talented. He is like so ready. And that's what, like, he's like, awesome. We've been working out together. And it's like, that is like something you think about. Like, LVN was already breaking out in spring training. Like, this felt like a year he could really bust out, especially like with new, we talk about like the new defensive line coach and how the old one clearly was holding them back. And then you just like hear a guy like Micah Parsons being like, oh, he's going to be better and I'm going to make sure of it. It's like, man, what an incredible leader. What a bad locker room guy he is.
Yeah, sure seems like
the Cowboys fans were sure right. Woof, woof, woof.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then, so it's hard to talk about anything else. It's like, and that's the thing too. It's like Edgerrin Cooper, 12 tackles, league
Right.
game leading. But I mean, you want to talk about like, he was on record being like, oh yeah, me and Micah is like nightmare fuel. Like there are going to be situations in the first and second down and run situations where you could have Rashawn Gary and LVN on the outside in the 4-3, and you could just straight up stand up Micah Parsons, outside linebacker like Sam, and have Quay as the Mike, and then Edge is the Will, and have 3-4 with all three of our edge rushers out. Or you kick LVN inside. It's for certain packages. I mean, he's been strong enough. There's just so many options. And the fun thing too is you talk about how he only ended up playing like 25-30% of the snaps. Micah lined up inside, outside. He kind of gave you a little bit of that. There was like a really
I also
awesome
didn't
stunt.
expect him to go all over the. I mean, he's still dealing with like the first time out. Honestly, when I was a little upset that he was still out there when it was like a 2 or 3 score game.
Yeah, LaFleur said he was like, Michael wanted to be out there. He was like, I'm here to finish this game. Let me go finish this game. If he had a sack early in the game, maybe would that have been different? Maybe, but
maybe.
God bless.
Yeah.
It was just. But it was incredible. Man, I felt like there was one more thing I wanted to say about that. Talking about how exciting blitz is, pressures. What does that look like? Nah, it doesn't matter. It's great. Yeah, it's cool. It's yeah. I was going to say this. Yeah, I got there. I was just wanted to touch on like, I guess I'm not surprised that they kicked him inside and outside. Halfley clearly was excited.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when he was deemed medically a go, it sounds like he does have a back issue. Like it's like I think it was played up for Cowboys. Well, I just mean more this. Like he's a very smart football player. You don't get to be as good as he is. I mean, he has all the athletic tools you need, but there is an intellectual element of his game that is just very clearly visible. He wins in a bunch of different ways. And part of being smart in a football perspective, when you're that athletically talented, is knowing when and how to use them. And that's him to a T. I was saying, I'm not surprised that he had those different packages. And then also just like, it's pretty simple. You're an edge rusher. You're a pass rusher. Go get the quarterback. I think JJ Watt somewhere, maybe it was on Pat McAfee, somewhere it was just kind of like, yeah, he'll play. He's like, at the end of the day, how many different ways can you just say, go get the quarterback? It's like, so, he's not surprised. He knows what double teams look like. He also said in his press conference too, he's like, I knew it was coming. When I feel better, I'll be able to get around those things too. And it's just like, awesome. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
So
it's fantastic.
Hopefully he gets that rest because we're on a short week,
Yeah. So to wrap up the episode, I want to talk about, since we won't have another one before the next game 2 against the Commanders, again at home Thursday night, and a short rest right away. Boom, boom. Any thoughts about the Commanders coming to town?
Yeah, I'm glad we're not the ones traveling. I'm glad that, there's some bumps and bruises. That's pretty standard for football, but it doesn't, the only one I'm kind of worried about is Zach Tom. My apologies.
That was it.
On that non-play, he's jumping out of the way.
I don't know. Oh, is that me? I don't know if that's me or you. I'm just gonna wait right here. Damn, we're so close to.
Oh,
there we go. Oh, nope.
damn.
Hello.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
Okay.
I might be doing too much internet. I've got like 17 tabs up.
Oh, that could definitely be it.
Maybe.
I mean, even now you look a little grainy McGrainerson.
I look clear on my side, so hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully the recorded version is good. Oh, there you go. Back a little bit.
Oh, I need to. Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so you were saying, I don't remember what you were saying.
Should we just? I mean, I don't want to like give you a pun editing. Should we just pick up Commanders?
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you go back to you saying, I'm glad it's not us traveling.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And action.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it's not us traveling. I'll say, like, the Zach Tom injury is like the only big question mark. And hopefully he very clearly just hit the ground on his hip super hard. So hopefully that's
Do we
probably
have
going to
any
be
update, by the way, on that?
nothing. They asked Matt during the presser, and he was just like, I don't have any updates on that, but he hates talking about injuries. So it's they're not, he's gonna protect the players. I'm hoping it's okay. He's going to be bruised. It's going to suck. I'm thinking 4 days out, he's going to probably play. It's not like you don't like hit the ground and like shatter your hip bone,
Yeah, you'd
Yeah,
hope.
right. I guess I shouldn't. I'm knocking on wood now. I shouldn't have said that. But I assume that'll be the case. I can't imagine that type of injury is going to keep somebody out of a game, second game. So
I mean, you'd have to worry a little bit though because it is short rest, and I definitely think that we need him because look, looking at the schedule and seeing Lions Commanders, if this was 6-7 years ago, I would have handled looking at that a lot different than I did this year. These teams have changed. The Commanders are a better team than they were, and so they should be taken lightly. They beat the Giants, who obviously suck, but they beat the Giants today 21-6. So, it's not like they, beat them, but still let them score a lot of points or something. They still had a great day. So, didn't get into the end zone at all. So they still should take the Commanders seriously. And I really hope that was my one concern too, was just Tom. Everything else is great. There's not, just prepare for it as normal. And hopefully we get an update on Tom in the next, tomorrow or the next day for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, Micah is going to have probably a lot of information to talk about playing these guys, how to deal with Daniels. This is the first time we're going to see Jaden Daniels against us at all. So, we'll see what that looks like. I feel significantly better with having Micah and Coop and Quay. These are fast, athletic linebackers. They are, or edge rushers, whatever you want to say Micah Parsons is. These are fast front seven guys who can get to your quarterback quickly. So can we get to them? They're starting a right tackle. Apparently he played really well in his debut. There was some stat floating around on the internet. I'll say this. It's not Micah Parsons. It's not Micah Parsons with another few days of rest and now game action under his belt. Like, I think they'll probably use him more than what they have, or at least I'd like to see it. But you have the opportunity to be home and really like stamp 2-0. I think I think there was probably some concern or consternation for Packers fans. Like, what if we get in this like absurd dogfight in week 1 against a divisional opponent, and then we're on fumes going against the Commanders? Like, what does that look like? And I just that just patently is not the case. I think everybody is pretty fresh and ready to go. Except for I think somebody rolled an ankle. I know that like Banks might have rolled his ankle, so he'll get that iced and taped. And it's a short week, right? So it's like these guys weren't going to do anything past like a walkthrough anyway. So would we have loved more time? Sure, but it's not like these guys were going to be in pads and these guys are going to miss out on like valuable like training reps. Like, it is a short week. It's get your rest and your PT in. We're going to watch film. They're going to watch film tomorrow. And then that's basically, they always talk about these games as always being a Sunday, and they adjust the days. So it's like, what? Then you're on to like Thursday on Tuesday.
Yeah. Right.
But you get my point. Like, it's just go time, and they're going to roll through. It's like, as much as I hate these short weeks, and we get one later in the year, right? Because of the Lions Thanksgiving bid.
Yes.
We're going to experience this again. We have a lot of primetime games this year, more than I would have expected, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
But, we're going the 23rd through the 27th. We're going to do it again. That one's a lot tougher of a turnaround every year. And they've done this before, so they know what they're doing. But, they're young. They're like young in the season too. They're still pretty fresh. So it's like, as far as a turnaround like this, like, I'd rather see it now than in like week 6 or 7. And then seeing it again in week 13, right? So,
agreed.
I will say, Josh, reviewing our Packers predictions from when the season release, you had the Packers going 11-6. I had the Packers going 12-5. Does the Parsons effect?
It would
change. Do you want to just add or remove any wins or losses?
Listen, I said 11-6. Yeah. I am definitely more in. Micah Parsons is at least a 1-game swing.
Yeah.
So having him on there, I definitely would be more in 12. I would also say you might want to go 13. But I am I placed the bet. I placed the bet at the time. And so, being fair to that, If you nail it and I'm off by one game because they added Micah Parsons, that's fair.
I'll say this. I think they win more than 12 games because of it. So I would review it. I don't think I want to do it right now, but I just saying, like, I don't know which games that I had L's turn into W's because I had them beating the Lions and so did you. But I think some of these games, I think when we were doing the schedule, I was like, yeah, you like lose a game you don't expect to, you win a game you don't think you can win. I think the Packers can win every game this year except for maybe the Eagles, and I still feel good about our chances. We play the Ravens, like the Ravens are absolutely rolling right now. They're as scary as they've ever been. But if the defense plays the way it does right now, I could see us going 14-3. I think Micah Parsons unlocks 2 more wins because I don't even think it unlocks Micah just winning us. I just think like it makes it like I truly and in earnest believe that the largest floor out of any NFC North team and maybe in the NFC right now could be the Packers with the way they're playing. I guess if you want to say the Eagles, I completely understand that, but they lost a ton of guys in their defensive line. After that game against the Cowboys, they went out and snapped Zadarius Smith. Speaking of Big Z from moments before. But they know their pass rush is not up to snuff. And I just think like the Packers right now, its defense is like really scary. Is if Jordan Love can stay healthy and he can get the ball out in rhythm, we're going to see more Matthew Golden as the games go on.
Yep.
Christian Watson might be back before week 8, talking about like he is so much further along than anybody thought he was going to be. It's like we could see a world where our wide receiving core is Watson, Golden, Reeds, and
Wyatt.
Jordan Love is healthy and like just slicing and dicing. So I don't want to revisit, but I do want to say you have the Packers losing to the Commanders this week.
Yeah, so. I mean, I think I said that because it's a short week, and I don't necessarily want to go away from like that. I don't want to change that in the totals because I think it is still a possibility. And I think they'd have an out if something happened, if Tom doesn't play and it's on a short week. I wouldn't love the excuse, but that would be the cards that would be played if they did lose. That being said, I think they do win that game.
You think they win? You're editing to a win.
Well, in like if we're doing a prediction for Thursday,
let's do it. That's what I'm trying to push you towards that direction.
Okay, so me first. I'm assuming that's what you're looking. You know what? You go.
I mean, I can go first. I go first.
Go first.
Because I already thought they were going to win. Seeing what I see right now, knowing what the Commanders can do, I think the Packers win 30-26. I think the defense is still going to be great. I just think the Commanders are just like really explosive off the back of Jane Daniels. And I just think like he can create in a way that Jared Goff can't. So I think some of these drives might get prolonged. We are going to see maybe some energy. They're not going to come out firing at 100% because of the short weeks. I'm just trying to just trying to like figure out what that looks like. But I think 30-26, and honestly, I could see a world where it was closer to like 30-19, 30-20. And they,
so multi-score.
Yeah. More. And then they catch some points on the back end, garbage time.
Okay. I'm going to go that they win. I'm not going to go that it's going to be, well, I think it's going to be about that close. I'm going to go 34-30.
34-30. Cool. So you're going to,
I think
amended to a win.
I think amend to a win. I think the game, I think the offense still, comes out. I think maybe they even work on a few things there. I think the running game has a bigger day, and I think they put up points. I think with it being the first time against Daniels, even though now we do have Micah Parsons, I think that they put out a better performance offensively than the Lions did.
I think that's probably very fair. Yeah. I would agree with that. But hopefully we're wrong, and hopefully it's another hilarious.
No, hopefully we're right. Hopefully we're right either way because we both said win.
Right. I guess, I would like to be wrong with how I'm right. I don't need to be fully right, I guess. Right with the win, yeah. I would love a blowout.
Just win.
Which would make me wrong. Just win. My prediction is please win
the game.
Just please win the game.
I don't care how you do it. Screw my prediction. Win the fucking game.
Yeah. Speaking of winning, Brewer is still great. Cubs lost today. Phillies lost today.
Keep that going. We did not forget about the crew.
No, not at all.
We just had to celebrate the Packers.
George Webb's
Yeah, see it right there. Hell yeah. I got 4 of them. I did not even go to get a burger. I just
Nice. Just
I see the
acquired
coupon. Yep. That
like
voucher is worth so much more.
gemstones, infinity stones, I
That's
think
right.
is the MCU thing. But yeah, that can't be, Trevor McGill, hopefully come back. A lot of injuries. Shelby Miller, unfortunately, going to be out all next
bullpen
year
a little
too.
roughed up here, but
Yeah, but
hey, we got 3 weeks until
just hold on because the offense is still cooking. 10-2. Pretty
keep
good.
doing that. Hopefully some of these guys can still make it back.
Yeah.
And we're ready to party and rock and roll. So awesome first game. Love that we were able to celebrate Micah. I still gotta decide if I'm okay. Tune in next time to find out. Am I okay with Micah, or is it just gonna be Micah Parsons? We'll figure all that out, and hopefully be celebrating a huge Thursday win and even more wins for the crew. It's a very, very exciting time for Wisconsin sports, and we appreciate you all being with us. Tune in next time because we are not done yet.
Thank you, Jerry.